close your eyes for just a moment. Take a breath, a slow, deep breath. And before you do anything else, before you scroll past this, before you tell yourself you're too busy or too tired or that this probably isn't meant for you, I need you to hear something. You were guided here, not by accident, not by an algorithm, not by coincidence. You were led to this moment by something far greater than any of those things. And what you're about to hear, what the angels are about to speak directly into your heart, has the power to change everything. Not tomorrow, not someday. Right now, in this very moment, if you allow it, there is a warning. A gentle but urgent message that has been waiting for you. A message that your angels have been trying to deliver for weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. And today's the day they refuse to let it go unheard any longer. So please, stay with me. What you're about to receive is not just a video. It is a conversation between heaven and your soul. Let's talk about something that most people are afraid to admit. There is a voice inside you, a quiet, persistent, almost aching voice that has been whispering to you for a long time. It speaks in the stillness between your thoughts. It shows up in the dreams you wake from and can't quite explain. It rises in your chest when you're driving alone in silence and a song comes on that feels like it was written just for you. It appears in the tears that fall for no reason you can name, the sudden feeling of being watched over, the strange sense that something is shifting in your life. Even when everything on the surface looks exactly the same, that voice is not your imagination. That voice is not anxiety. That voice is not you overthinking. That voice is the voice of your guardian angels, and they have been trying so desperately to get your attention. And the message they carry is both a love letter and a warning. Stop ignoring what you already know. That's it. That is the heart of what the angels have been saying to you. Stop ignoring what you already know, because here's the truth that heaven wants you to sit with today. You already know. You already know that something in your life is out of alignment. You already know that a relationship, a situation, a habit, a pattern, a choice, something is costing you your peace. You already know that you have been playing small, settling for less, tolerating things you were never meant to tolerate. You already know that you were born for something more, something deeper, something that makes your soul feel alive instead of just going through the motions. You know. You have always known. And yet, day after day, you find reasons to look away. You find distractions. You stay busy. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later. You convince yourself that maybe you're wrong, maybe you're imagining things, maybe you should just be grateful for what you have and stop wanting more. And in doing that, in silencing that voice, in dismissing those feelings, in ignoring those signs, you have been breaking your own heart. And it breaks the hearts of your angels, too. I want to take you somewhere for a moment. I want you to imagine a woman, maybe someone who feels very familiar to you, maybe because in many ways, she is you. She wakes up every morning and feels a weight in her chest before she even opens her eyes. She lies there in the morning quiet and thinks, is this it? Is this really what my life is supposed to feel like? She gets up anyway. She makes the coffee. She checks her phone. She moves through the day like a beautiful, capable, exhausted machine. She smiles when she needs to smile. She gives when she needs to give. She holds it together for everyone around her. But at night, when the house is quiet and the world has stopped demanding things from her, she sits with herself. And in that quiet, something inside her aches. A longing she can't quite name. A feeling that she is not living the life she was meant to live. A sense that somewhere along the way, she made a wrong turn, or allowed herself to be turned by someone else, and now she doesn't quite know who she is or where she's going. And the angels have been sending her signs. A white feather that appeared on her path on a morning she nearly didn't go for that walk. A song that came on the radio right when she was about to make a decision she would have regretted. The number 444 showing up on her clock, on her receipts, on license plates, 3 times in one afternoon, just as she was sitting with a question she was too afraid to ask out loud. A dream in which someone she loved who had passed, a grandmother, a mother, a friend, appeared and simply said, "You are not alone. Keep going." She noticed those signs. She felt something stir inside her when they came. And then, because the world is loud and life is demanding and doubt is a very convincing liar, she dismissed them. She moved on. She told herself it was just a coincidence, just her mind looking for patterns, just wishful thinking. And the angels watched, and they waited, and they tried again and again and again, because angels do not give up on you. That is not something they are capable of doing. But they also cannot force you to listen. They cannot make you receive what you are not willing to open yourself to receive. And so they wait, with infinite patience and infinite love, for the moment when you are finally ready to stop running and start listening. Today, that moment is now. There is something very important I want you to understand about how angels communicate. Because so many people have been taught, either by religion, by culture, by their own inner critic, that angelic messages are supposed to come in grand, undeniable, impossible to miss ways. A booming voice from the sky, a lightning bolt of clarity, a miracle that stops traffic and leaves no room for doubt. And because those dramatic, unmistakable signs haven't come, they've concluded that either they're not worthy of divine communication, or that angels aren't real, or that the universe simply isn't paying attention to their particular ordinary little life. But that is not how it works. That has never been how it works. Angels speak in the language of the quiet and the subtle. They speak through synchronicities, those moments when the right words reach you at exactly the right time. When you think of someone and they call, when you open a book to a random page and read exactly what your soul needed to hear. They speak through the body, through the goosebumps that rise on your arms when you're in alignment with truth, through the tightness in your chest when something is wrong, through the inexplicable peace that washes over you when you make a decision that is right for your soul, even when it makes no logical sense. They speak through other people, through the stranger who says something that pierces straight through to your heart, through the friend who doesn't even know she's delivering a message, but somehow says exactly what you've been trying to hear, through the child who looks at you with wide, ancient eyes and says something so pure and so true that it stops you in your tracks. And they speak through the signs that show up in the physical world, the repeated numbers, the feathers, the butterflies that appear at the most meaningful moments, the rainbow after a storm, the fragrance of flowers when there are none nearby. These are not accidents. These are not coincidences. These are the fingerprints of the divine left lovingly on the surface of your physical life, saying, "We are here. We see you. Keep going." The warning the angels are bringing you today is not a warning of doom or punishment. I want to be very clear about that. Angels do not traffic in fear. They are beings of pure love and pure light, and every message they carry, even the urgent ones, even the difficult ones, comes from a place of absolute, unconditional love for you. The warning is this: time is precious. Your life is precious, and you have been giving too much of both to things that do not deserve them. Let me speak to you very directly now, because the angels are very direct with me in this moment, and they want me to be direct with you. You have been tolerating something that is slowly draining your light. Maybe it's a relationship, romantic, familial, or friendship, in which you give and give and give and receive very little in return. A relationship where you walk on eggshells, where your feelings are minimized, where you feel more like a function than a person, more like a resource than a soul. A relationship where love feels like something you have to earn, over and over, no matter how much of yourself you pour out. You've told yourself it will get better. You've told yourself it's not that bad. You've told yourself that you are the problem, that if you could just be more patient, more understanding, less sensitive, less needy, it would all be fine. The angels say, it is not fine, and you know it is not fine, and the version of you that you were created to be deserves better than not fine. Maybe it's not a relationship. Maybe it's a situation, a job, a living arrangement, a life structure that feels like a cage that was built so slowly, one bar at a time, that you didn't notice you were trapped until one day you looked around and couldn't breathe. You've told yourself you should be grateful. You've told yourself that plenty of people have it worse. You've told yourself that security is more important than happiness, that responsibility is more important than desire, that what makes sense on paper is more important than what your soul is crying out for. The angels say gratitude and desire can coexist. Responsibility and joy can coexist. A safe life and a meaningful life are not opposites. And you were not put on this earth to merely survive. You were put here to thrive, to expand, to become, to contribute, to love, to feel deeply alive. Not one day when everything is perfect. Now, in the messy, imperfect, glorious reality of your actual life. Or maybe, and this one is the hardest one to hear, so I want you to receive it gently. Maybe what is draining your light is not a person or a situation outside of you. Maybe what is draining your light is the story you have been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve and what is possible for you. Maybe the thing ignoring the angelic warning is not someone else. Maybe it is you. Maybe you are the one who has been turning down the volume on your own voice, dismissing your own intuition, talking yourself out of your own dreams, shrinking yourself to fit into spaces you have long outgrown. And if that's true, if that's the thing you recognize yourself in right now, then this message is your wake-up call. Not from me, from every angel and every guide and every loving luminous being in the spiritual realm who has been assigned to you, who has been walking beside you through every dark night and every hard season and every moment when you nearly gave up. They are all here right now, and they are all saying the same thing. You are worthy. You are seen. You are loved. And it is time to stop treating yourself like you aren't. I want to talk about the cost of ignoring these warnings. Not to frighten you, not to make you feel guilty, but because the angels believe in telling the truth. And the truth is that every time you silence that inner voice, every time you dismiss a sign, every time you choose comfort over alignment, there is a cost. And it is a cost that accumulates over time. The cost is not eternal punishment. Angels don't operate in those terms. The cost is something quieter and sadder than that. The cost is a life that feels like it is happening to you rather than being created by you. The cost is waking up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in the exact same place, with the same ache in your chest and the same unanswered questions in your heart, wondering how you got here. The cost is the slow dimming of the light inside you. Not all at once, but degree by degree, year by year, until one day you look in the mirror and can barely remember the version of yourself who used to feel things so vividly, who used to believe so fully, who used to wake up in the morning with something that felt like hope. The angels have watched this happen to so many souls, and it breaks their hearts every single time, because they know with a certainty that surpasses all earthly understanding what you are capable of. They know the gifts that are still waiting to unfold within you. They know the love that is still waiting to find you. They know the version of your life that exists in the realm of what is possible for you. And it is so beautiful, so rich, so full of meaning and connection and joy that if you could see it the way they see it, you would not waste another single moment. That is why they're warning you. Not because they want to frighten you, because they love you so profoundly that they are not willing to watch you waste any more of your precious, irreplaceable time. I want to pause here and speak to the part of you that is doubtful, because I know that part is there. I know that even as you've been listening, even as something deep inside you has been responding to these words, there is another part of you that is holding back, that is saying, this sounds nice, but I've heard things like this before. I've hoped before. I've believed before. I've tried before, and I've been disappointed, and I don't know if I can go through that again. To that part of you, that tender, bruised, exhausted part, the angels have a very specific message. They know about the disappointments. They were there for every single one of them. They watched you fall, and they wept with you. They watched you get back up, and they celebrated you. They watched you lose faith, and they held the faith for you until you were ready to pick it back up again. They have never, not for a single moment, abandoned you in your disappointment. They have never turned away from you in your doubt. They have never loved you any less for the times when you couldn't feel their presence. And they want you to know this. The disappointments were not proof that you are unloved. They were not evidence that you are unworthy of good things. They were not signs that you should stop hoping, or stop trying, or stop believing. Every single disappointment you have lived through has been shaping something inside you, building a depth of compassion, a richness of understanding, a capacity for empathy and wisdom that only comes through the experience of loss. You are not damaged by what you've been through. You are deepened by it. You are more beautiful for having survived it. And what is coming for you, what the angels are preparing even now, in the unseen realm, is worth every single hard thing you have endured to get here. But you have to be willing to receive it. And you can't receive it if you stay hidden. You can't receive it if you keep your heart locked behind walls built from old pain. You can't receive it if you keep insisting, in the face of all the signs and all the whispers and all the gentle urgings of heaven, that you are not worthy, that it's too late, that you've made too many mistakes, that your best days are behind you. They are not behind you. Your best days are ahead. The angels say this to you with absolute certainty. Let's talk about signs. Because I believe that you have been receiving them, many of them, and I want to help you recognize them for what they are. Have you been seeing the number 1111 or 1111 lately? This is one of the most powerful angelic messages there is. It is a signal of new beginnings, of alignment, of a portal opening in your life. When you see 111, the angels are telling you that your thoughts are manifesting rapidly right now. So be intentional about what you focus on. They are telling you that you are on the threshold of something new and that you should walk forward with confidence. Have you been finding feathers in unexpected places? White feathers especially, but any feather in an unusual location, at a meaningful moment. This is a love note from heaven. It is your angels saying, I am here. I am walking this path with you. You are not alone. Have you been waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning? This is the hour that is known in many spiritual traditions as the hour of the divine, the time when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is thinnest, when angels can most easily reach through to communicate. If you have been waking at that hour with a sense of presence, with a thought that feels more like a transmission than a dream, with an unexplained feeling of being watched over and held, that is real. Your angels are there, in the quiet of the night, speaking to you in the language of your half-sleeping soul. Have you experienced moments of sudden, unexplainable peace? A moment when everything in your life felt uncertain and difficult, and then, without warning, a wave of calm washed over you, a sense that everything was going to be okay, a feeling of being held by something you couldn't see. That is not a mental health symptom. That is not wishful thinking. That is the hands of your angels wrapping around you in a moment when you needed to be reminded of the love that surrounds you. Have you been drawn to certain words, certain ideas, certain themes over and over again? Picking up books that all seem to say the same thing, hearing conversations that all seem to circle back to the same message, watching videos that all speak to the same need in your heart. When the universe wants to communicate something to you, it speaks in repetition. It sends the same message through multiple channels until you can't possibly avoid it. And if you have been noticing a recurring theme in your life lately, a word, an idea, a question that keeps showing up, that is not a coincidence. That is heaven clearing its throat and saying, pay attention to this. This one is for you. There is something else the angels want to address, and it is perhaps the most tender part of this message. It is about the people you have been waiting for. So many of you have been waiting for someone to recognize your worth before you allow yourself to believe in it, waiting for someone to love you in the way you deserve before you let yourself feel deserving, waiting for someone to give you permission to step into your purpose, to pursue your dream, to take up space in the world, to claim the life you know in your deepest self that you were created for. And the angels are here today with a message that might feel uncomfortable, but that comes from the deepest love. No one is coming to give you that permission. No one. Not a romantic partner, not a parent, not a friend, not a mentor, not a spiritual leader. No one outside of you has the authority to grant you access to your own worth. That permission has always lived inside you. It was placed there at the moment of your creation. It has never expired. It has never been revoked. It has simply been waiting for you to claim it. This is not a message to make you feel alone. You are never alone. The angels are very clear about that. You are surrounded by love and guidance in every moment of every day. But the love and guidance of heaven are not here to do the inner work for you. They are here to walk beside you while you do it. They are here to light the path. They are here to catch you when you stumble. They are here to remind you, every time you forget, of who you truly are. But you have to take the step. You have to make the choice. You have to be the one to stop ignoring the warning, to stop dismissing the signs, to stop silencing the voice that has been speaking truth into your heart since before you even knew you needed to hear it. You have made it to this moment, and that means something. The angels want you to know that the fact that you are still here, still listening, still open to receiving this message, that is not a small thing. That is an act of courage, because it takes courage to sit with truth. It takes courage to let your heart be reached. It takes courage to stay present when every distraction in the world is calling your name and telling you to look away. So before we go any further, I want you to take a moment and honor yourself for being here, for choosing, even just for this hour, to listen, to receive, to be open. That choice, that small, quiet, brave choice, is already an act of alignment with the divine. It is already a step in the direction your angels have been guiding you toward. And now we continue, because the message is not finished. The angels have more to say. And what comes next is the part that holds the key to everything. Let's go back to that woman I described earlier, the one who wakes up with a weight in her chest, the one who moves through her days doing everything right and still feels like something is missing, the one who has been receiving signs and dismissing them, hearing the whispers and turning up the volume on everything else to drown them out. I want to tell you what happened to her, not as a fairy tale, not as a fantasy, but as a possibility, a real, living, available possibility for anyone who makes the choice she made. One morning, she woke up before her alarm. It was that early hour, somewhere between night and dawn, when the world is held in a kind of holy stillness. And instead of reaching for her phone, instead of pulling the covers back over her head and trying to steal a few more minutes of sleep, she just lay there. And in that stillness, she did something she hadn't done in a very long time. She listened. Not for anything specific. She didn't know what she was listening for. She just stopped trying to fill the silence with noise, stopped trying to manage the ache, stopped trying to be okay or figure it out or push through. She just lay there in the quiet, and she listened, and what came was not a voice exactly. It was more like a feeling, a deep, full, certain feeling that rose from somewhere inside her chest and moved through her whole body. A feeling of being known, of being seen, of being held by something infinitely larger and more loving than anything she had ever encountered in the physical world. And with that feeling came a knowing, not a thought, not a plan, not a solution, just a knowing. A clear, quiet, undeniable knowing that said, "You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be, and I have not left you. I have never left you," she cried. She cried for a long time, alone in the dark, in that quiet hour before the world woke up. She cried for all the years she had spent running from that stillness. She cried for all the signs she had dismissed and all the whispers she had silenced. She cried for the version of herself she had abandoned somewhere along the way. The girl who used to believe so easily, who used to feel the world so vividly, who used to trust her own heart. And when the tears stopped, something had shifted. Not on the outside. Nothing in her life had changed yet. Not her circumstances, not her relationships, not her bank account, not her daily routine. But something deep inside her had moved. Like a stone that had been blocking a river had finally been lifted, and the water could flow again. That shift, that quiet, profound, deeply personal inner shift, is what the angels are inviting you into right now. Because here's what I need you to understand about transformation. Real transformation, the kind that lasts, the kind that changes everything. It never begins on the outside. It always, always begins in the interior. It begins in that invisible space inside you where your truest self lives, where your soul speaks, where heaven and earth meet in the miracle of your own awareness. The world will tell you otherwise. The world will tell you that if you change your circumstances, your address, your relationship status, your job title, your body, your bank balance, then you will feel different. Then you will feel whole. Then you will feel worthy and at peace and aligned with something meaningful. But don't you, from experience, that it doesn't work that way? You've changed things on the outside before. You've started over. You've made new resolutions. You've taken the trip, ended the relationship, started the new chapter. And for a while, things felt better. And then, gradually, that same ache crept back, that same feeling of something missing. That same weight in the chest that has nothing to do with what is happening and everything to do with something that is unresolved on the inside. The angels are not here to tell you not to change your circumstances. Sometimes changing your circumstances is exactly what is required. Sometimes the divine is calling you to make a bold, terrifying, life-altering external change. To leave, to move, to begin, to end, to leap. And if that is what is being asked of you, then the courage to make that change is one of the most sacred things you could offer. But they are telling you that the change must begin within. It must begin with this: the decision to stop abandoning yourself. The decision to stop betraying the truth that lives inside you. The decision to stop ignoring the warnings that love, divine love, angel love, the love of your own deepest self, has been sending you. I want to speak now about something that many people don't expect to hear in a message like this. I want to talk about fear, because fear is the reason the warning goes ignored. Fear is always the reason, not laziness, not selfishness, not stubbornness. Fear of what, you might ask? Fear of so many things. Fear of change, because even when the current situation is painful, at least it is known, and the unknown feels more terrifying than familiar pain. Fear of failure, because what if you listen to the signs and you follow the call and you step out in faith and it doesn't work and you end up worse off than before? Fear of what other people will think, because the path your soul is being called to doesn't always look reasonable or responsible from the outside, and you have spent a very long time caring, too much, about how you appear to others. Fear of your own power, because on some level you can feel how much potential is contained inside you, and that potential is both exhilarating and terrifying, because with great capacity comes great responsibility, and part of you would rather stay small than risk the vulnerability of being fully seen. The angels see all of these fears. They see them clearly and completely, and they do not judge you for having them. Fear is a natural part of being human. Fear is the shadow side of caring deeply, of being invested, of having a self that can be hurt. There is nothing wrong with you for being afraid. But here is what the angels want you to know about fear. It is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are approaching something that matters. Fear and purpose are not opposites. They travel together. Every person who has ever done something brave and meaningful and soul-aligned has done it afraid. The fear does not go away before you take the step. The courage is in taking the step while the fear is still present. And here is the most important thing I can tell you about walking through fear with angelic support. You are never doing it alone. Ever. When you choose alignment over comfort, when you choose growth over stagnation, when you choose to honor the divine guidance that has been calling your name, the entire invisible realm mobilizes behind you. Not metaphorically. Literally, your angels draw closer. New doors open in ways you cannot yet see or predict. People come into your path at exactly the right moments. Resources appear. Synchronicities multiply. The universe bends itself around your courageous choice to align with your highest purpose. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. When you move in the direction of your true path, the path your soul agreed to before you were even born into this body, creation itself conspires to support you. Let me talk about that for a moment. The path your soul agreed to before you were born. This is something the angels speak about with great tenderness, because it is something that so many people have lost touch with. The understanding that their life is not random, that their presence here is not an accident, that they came into this world with a purpose that is unique to them and irreplaceable. You chose this life. Before you came into a physical body, in the realm of pure spirit where you existed before this life, you made choices about what you would experience, what you would learn, what gifts you would bring, what contributions you would make. You chose your challenges, not as punishment, but as curriculum. You chose the particular constellation of gifts and sensitivities and passions that make you who you are, because they are the exact tools you need to fulfill the purpose you came here to fulfill, and you were assigned guardians, angels who would walk beside you through every moment of your human experience, angels who would remember your soul's intention even when you forgot it, angels who would send signs and whispers and gentle nudges to keep you moving in the direction of your highest becoming, even when the road got dark and you couldn't see where you were going. Those angels have never stopped their work, not when you lost your way, not when you made choices that took you off course, not when you built walls around your heart or gave your power away to people who didn't deserve it or convinced yourself that your dreams were too big and your worthiness too small. They have been there through all of it, patient, devoted, relentless in their love. And what they are asking you right now, with more urgency than they have felt in a very long time, is this. Come back. Come back to yourself. Come back to the truth of who you are and why you are here. Not for anyone else's sake, though your returning to yourself will bless everyone in your life more than you can imagine. But first, for your own sake, for the sake of the soul that has been waiting, sometimes in agony, for you to remember it. I want to speak directly to the heaviness you carry, because I know it is there. I have felt it in the energy of this message, and the angels have shown it to me, with love and great compassion. You have been carrying weight that does not belong to you. The weight of other people's expectations, the weight of generational patterns, beliefs about money, love, worthiness, possibility that were handed down to you before you were old enough to examine them. The weight of words that were said to you by someone who was themselves in pain. Words that landed in your tender, young heart and calcified into beliefs about who you are and what you deserve. The weight of grief you haven't fully allowed yourself to feel. The weight of anger you've turned inward rather than processed. The weight of dreams you've kept on a shelf for so long they've gathered dust. You were not built to carry all of this alone. You were never meant to. And the angels are telling you today, with a tenderness and specificity that I hope reaches straight into the center of your chest, that you are allowed to put it down. You are allowed to put down the belief that you have to earn love. You are allowed to put down the story that you are too much or not enough. You are allowed to put down the guilt of not being everything to everyone. You are allowed to put down the grief that has calcified into numbness and let it melt back into feeling, because feeling, even the painful feelings, is evidence of your aliveness, and your aliveness is sacred. You are allowed to rest, to receive, to be tended to rather than always tending to others. You are allowed to say, I don't know, and I'm tired, and I need help. You are allowed to be human, fully, imperfectly, beautifully human, and still be worthy of every good thing you have ever longed for. The angels do not require you to be perfect in order to receive their love and guidance. They require nothing from you at all. Their love for you is unconditional, absolute, unwavering. It does not increase when you are at your best, and it does not diminish when you are at your worst. It simply is, like air, like light, like the beating of your own heart. And right now, in this moment, they are pouring that love into you. Can you feel it? That warmth that begins in your chest and radiates outward? That softening around your eyes? That release of something that has been held tight for longer than you can remember? That is the love of your angels. That is real. That is for you. Now I want to talk about what comes next, because a warning without direction is just fear, and the angels do not deal in fear. They deal in love and in light and in the very practical, specific, actionable steps that will lead you from where you are to where you are meant to be. The first thing the angels are asking you to do is practice the art of radical honesty with yourself. Not the harsh, critical, punishing kind of honesty that sounds like everything is your fault and you should have done better, but the clean, clear, compassionate kind of honesty that says, this is what is true. This is what I actually feel. This is what I actually want. This is what I actually believe is possible for me. This is what I have been pretending not to know. Sit with yourself today, tonight, this week, and ask yourself the questions you have been avoiding. Not from a place of self-attack, but from a place of genuine, curious, loving inquiry. What in my life is no longer serving my highest good? Where am I giving my energy to things that diminish me rather than elevate me? What have I been settling for, and why? What is the dream I have been dismissing as unrealistic or irresponsible or selfish? What would I do? Who would I become? How would I live if I genuinely believed that I was worthy of my own deepest desires? Write it down if you can. There is power in putting words on paper. Something alchemical happens when the invisible thoughts of your inner world are given physical form. And then read what you've written with compassion, not with judgment, with the eyes of an angel who sees your full humanity and loves it completely. The second thing the angels are asking of you is this. Begin to actively acknowledge the signs, not just notice them and move on. Actively, intentionally acknowledge them. When you see a feather, say thank you out loud or in your heart. When you see the numbers that have been calling to you, pause for just a moment and say, I hear you. I receive this. When you have a dream that feels significant, write it down before the details evaporate in the morning light. When a song comes on that feels like a message, let it be a message. Let it in. Receive it fully instead of giving it a moment and then moving on. When you begin to acknowledge the signs, something extraordinary happens. They multiply because you are not creating more signs. The signs were always there. You are simply training your awareness to recognize them. You are saying to the universe, I am paying attention now, and the universe responds to that attentiveness with more of itself, more synchronicities, more moments of profound, heart-stopping recognition, more of the feeling that you are held and guided and deeply, specifically, individually loved. And the more you acknowledge the signs, the stronger your connection to your angels becomes. It is like any relationship. The more you show up to it, the more you invest in it, the richer and more real it becomes. Your relationship with your angels is no different. It deepens with attention. It flourishes with gratitude. It grows into something that becomes, in time, the most reliable and sustaining relationship of your entire life. The third invitation from the angels is the one that many people resist the most. And so I want to offer it gently, but clearly. They are asking you to forgive, not for the sake of the person who hurt you, not because what was done to you was acceptable or small or unworthy of grief and anger, but for your own sake. Because unforgiveness is, in spiritual terms, one of the heaviest things a human soul can carry. It is a chain that binds you to the past, to the person who harmed you, to the version of events that causes you the most pain. And as long as you are bound to that chain, your movement forward is limited. Your capacity to receive the new things the universe is trying to bring you is diminished. Your light, the beautiful, irreplaceable, specific light that is uniquely yours, is filtered through the shadow of old wounds. Forgiveness does not mean saying it was okay. Forgiveness does not mean trusting someone who has shown you they cannot be trusted. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation or continued relationship or the erasure of what happened. Forgiveness means releasing the grip of the past on your present. It means saying, I am no longer willing to let what happened to me then determine what is possible for me now. I choose my freedom over my grievance. I choose my future over my wound. This kind of forgiveness is one of the most profound acts of spiritual courage a human being can perform, and your angels will be with you every step of the way through it. You do not have to do it all at once. You do not have to feel it perfectly or completely before it counts. You simply have to be willing. Willing to begin. Willing to try. Willing to loosen, even slightly, the grip of old pain. And in that willingness, something miraculous becomes possible. I want to tell you about another truth the angels are revealing today. It is about the timing of your life. So many of you have been comparing your timeline to someone else's. Looking at where other people are, their relationships, their careers, their families, their apparent ease and success, and measuring your own life against theirs, and finding yours wanting, feeling behind, feeling like you missed your window, feeling like somehow, at some point, the train left without you, and now you're standing on the platform watching everyone else move forward. The angels say this with love and with laughter, a warm, gentle, knowing kind of laughter. There is no such thing as behind on a soul path. There is only your path, your timing, your perfectly orchestrated unfolding, every experience you have had, even the ones that felt like setbacks, even the ones that felt like failures, even the ones that broke your heart and brought you to your knees. Every single one of them has been preparation. Preparation for what is coming. Preparation for the version of you who is capable of receiving and holding and honoring the life that has always been meant for you. The woman who spent years in a relationship that diminished her before she found the love that honored her. Those years were not wasted. They taught her exactly what love is not, so that when the real thing came, she recognized it immediately, valued it deeply, and did not let it slip away. The woman who tried and failed at her dream before she finally succeeded. Those failures were not proof of her unworthiness. They were the classroom in which she learned everything she needed to know to sustain her success when it finally came. Your story is not over. It is not even close to over. And the chapters that are coming, the chapters the angels have been preparing, in ways you cannot see from where you are standing right now, are going to make every hard thing you have lived through make sense. Not justify it, not erase it, but give it meaning, context, purpose, the place in the larger story where it belongs. Trust the timing of your life. This is not passive waiting. This is active, intentional, deeply faithful trust. Trust that says, I will do the inner work, I will follow the signs, I will take the steps I am guided to take, and I will trust that the divine is weaving all of it together into something more beautiful than I could have planned on my own. I want to speak now to your dreams, specifically to the dream you have been carrying the longest, the one that has been with you since you were young, maybe, or the one that arrived fully formed in a moment of clarity and then got buried under the weight of everyday life. The dream that keeps returning, in the quiet, in the sleepless hours, in the moments between doing and thinking, when your truest desires rise to the surface before your rational mind can push them back down. That dream is not an accident. It is not vanity. It is not wishful thinking. It is a clue, one of the most important clues your soul has given you, about why you are here and what you are meant to contribute. The angels are telling you, it is not too late to pursue it. It is not too big for you to achieve it. It does not need to look exactly the way you imagined it. The dream does not require perfection, complete preparation, or all the right circumstances lined up in a row before you take a single step toward it. The dream requires only your willingness to begin, a small, imperfect, uncertain, beautiful beginning. One step, one decision, one yes in the direction of what makes your soul feel alive. And when you take that step, the angels will be there. Not just in a general, everywhere at once kind of way. Specifically there, specifically moving on your behalf, opening doors, arranging meetings, sending the right people and the right resources at the right moments. Working in the unseen realm to build what you cannot yet see from where you stand. This is what it means to co-create with the divine. Not to sit and wait for heaven to do it all for you, and not to exhaust yourself trying to make it happen entirely through sheer human will and effort, but to do your part, to take the step, to do the inner work, to follow the guidance, to show up with consistency and faith, and then to trust that heaven is doing its part in the realm you cannot see. As we come toward the close of this message, I want to give you something to carry with you, a practice, a ritual, something simple that you can do today and tomorrow and in the weeks ahead that will deepen your connection to your angels and begin to create the shift that this entire message has been pointing toward. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you speak to another person, before the world makes its first demand of you, give yourself 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, and speak to your angels. You don't need special words. You don't need formal prayer. You don't need to know exactly who is listening or how this all works. You simply need to show up with an open heart and an honest voice and speak the truth of what is in you. Tell them what you are afraid of. Tell them what you are hoping for. Tell them what feels impossible right now and what feels like it might, just barely, be possible. Tell them where you are and where you want to go. Tell them what you are willing to do and where you need their help. And then, and this is the most important part, be still just for a moment, just for a breath or two, and listen. Not for a thunderclap, not for a booming voice. Just be still and open and notice what arises. A feeling, a thought that comes from somewhere deeper than your usual thinking. A word, an image, a simple, quiet sense of which direction to move. That is the voice of your angels. That is the response to your prayer. It will feel subtle, maybe even uncertain at first. But the more consistently you practice this, the more clearly you will hear it. And gradually, over days and weeks and months, you will find that you are no longer navigating your life alone. You will find that you have access to a guidance system that is wiser, more loving, and more reliable than anything the external world can offer. There is one last thing the angels want you to hear before this message closes. One final piece of the warning, and it is the most important piece of all. The warning is not just about stopping something. It is about starting something. Stop ignoring the angelic warning. Yes. Stop dismissing the signs. Stop silencing the voice. Stop tolerating what diminishes you. Stop choosing fear over alignment. Stop waiting for permission. Yes to all of that. But the angels are not only calling you away from something, they are calling you toward something, toward the fullness of who you are, toward the life that has been waiting for you on the other side of your courage, toward a version of yourself that is so whole, so luminous, so deeply at peace with who she is and why she is here, that the woman sitting with this message today would barely recognize her, and yet she is already inside you. That whole, luminous, fully alive version of you. She is not a stranger. She is not a fantasy. She is your truest self. The self that existed before the wounds were inflicted, and the walls were built, and the beliefs about your smallness were planted in your tender heart. She is the self that your angels see every time they look at you. She is the self that heaven has been calling you back to with every sign, every whisper, every gentle and urgent warning. She has been waiting. With a patience that matches the patience of the angels themselves, with a love for you that is so complete and so steady that it has survived every time you denied her, every time you silenced her, every time you chose someone else's approval over her wisdom. She is still here. She has never left, and she is ready, so deeply, so joyfully, so fully ready to be reclaimed. So here is what the angels are asking you to do when this message ends. Not tomorrow. Today, choose one thing. One small, concrete, real thing that you can do today to begin the journey back to yourself. Maybe it is finally having a conversation you have been avoiding. Maybe it is signing up for the class, sending the email, making the appointment, opening the journal to a blank page, and beginning to write the truth of what is inside you. Maybe it is simply sitting in the quiet for 5 minutes and allowing yourself to feel what you have been too busy and too afraid to feel. Whatever it is, choose it and do it. Not perfectly, not with complete confidence, not with certainty about how it will turn out, but with the simple, sacred intention of one human soul saying to all of heaven, I hear you, I am listening. I am no longer willing to ignore what I know. I am ready to receive. I am ready to become. I am ready to live the life that was always meant to be mine. When you take that step, no matter how small, the angels will celebrate. The entire invisible realm will shift in your direction. And something inside you, something that has been waiting for this moment far longer than you know, will breathe for the very first time in a very long time. To close this message, I want to offer you a blessing, spoken on behalf of every angel and every guide and every luminous being that has been assigned to walk beside you in this life. May you feel, from this moment forward, the love that has always surrounded you. May the signs become impossible to miss and the whispers become impossible to silence. May you find, in the quiet of the early morning and the stillness of the late night, the voice that has been speaking truth into your heart since before you were born. May you have the courage to listen to it and the faith to follow it, even when the path ahead is unclear and the outcome uncertain. May the walls around your heart dissolve, not all at once but gently, layer by layer, as the love you have always deserved finds its way in. May the dreams you have carried the longest be the ones that finally come to life. May the weight you have been carrying finally be set down, and may you discover, in the lightness that follows, who you were always meant to be. May you know, not just believe, but truly, deeply, bodily know, that you are not alone, that you are seen, that you are held, that you are loved beyond the capacity of any human language to fully express. And may you stop ignoring the warning. Not out of fear of what you might lose, but out of love for what you are about to gain. This message was sent to you, not to the person who might share it or comment on it or stumble across it some other day. To you, right now. In this moment of your life when you needed it most, and when heaven decided that the time for waiting was over, you are ready. You have always been ready. Now go. Step forward. Your angels are with you every single step of the way.